The midsummer deer preparations have begun. We're talking about food plot prep and manipulation architecture this week here on Land Beat for 2025 bow season. All right, guys, it is July 1 and we're pumped for season, but there's a lot of work that needs to get done between now and then. Believe it or not, this is a food plot. It may not look like it behind me, but we're going to walk you through the steps that we're going to take to get this thing hunt ready by September 15th. Backstory, this portion of the property was burned in mid-April. This was just a grassy, fescue, weedy field. We burned it all off as part of a larger unit. A few weeks after that, came in and broadcasted, since we had bare dirt, broadcasted clover, chicory into this stand. And we can see it coming up and established it, germinated very well. But certainly we've got additional weed pressure in here. I've already done one application of clethodim, grass selective herbicide, in the month of May as that clover stand was beginning to develop and germinate. I got rid of some crabgrass and fescue that was in here. Now there's been more crabgrass, additional broadleaf weeds that have come in and begun to take over this plot. As we can see, thistle, Queen Anne's lace, horse nettle, blackberry, ragweed, croton, and various other plants. So the plan is to come in with another clethodim and 2,4-D-B application, running both of those together in the same tank, mixing them to apply over this clover field. And I should mention as well that this 1/2 to 1.7 acres field itself is going to be split into two different forages itself to have different attraction throughout the fall. I want this as a perennial stand. This portion of the plot stays very well shaded. It's a little bit more narrow than the larger portion down to the south, but this acre-sized clover field is going to be great as I begin to clean it up, and probably will also choose to fertilize during August timeframe ahead of season once we get some of those rains, and it's going to pop and fill in and be primed. So the clover is taken care of by those measures taken. Now, onto the fall annual portion of the plot. It's about a 1/2 acre in size or more. That portion is going to receive a glyphosate application in the next few days to get it burned off, right? It's going to take about 2 weeks to get it completely burned off. When I'm burned off as in dead, right? So once that occurs, I'll come back in and I actually set fire to the thatch. A lot of the fall annual blends that we run, it's got brassicas, turnips, radishes, some annual clovers, and wheat and rye and oats and triticale. A combination of any of that, right, is going to be planted as a fall annual blend. But if I don't have that thatch load, those seeds via broadcasted can germinate really well once we receive a good thunderstorm or two following up that round of broadcasting. I'm going to attempt to do that in very late July, early August. So essentially we'll have mid-July herbicide application, 2 weeks, burn off the thatch, seed immediately, and then let it rain and soak in. That seems early. Anytime we're involving brassicas and radishes, I want a longer time frame to get max tonnage, both out of the greens, but also out of the bulb itself. Those are very drought tolerant once they get established because they burrow down deep with the taproot and they'll find water in the soil profile here. So I don't mind planting those earlier in the fall or late in the summer to get those good and established, ready for September 15th opener here in Missouri. So that's the food plot differences here. And I generally like to do 2 different forages in a plot like this because it's a little bit longer and narrower, but at the very end, it kind of bulges out and opens back up. So we're going to have 2 different forages to make sure that deer just don't stay on the shaded end early and never get down to the larger opening at the far end or south end of the food plot, because a lot of deer do move through this field from north to south, but we just cut in a bedding area directly to the west of this plot, so that's going to change some of that activity. But regardless, having 2 different forages is diversity, of course, in the plot, but also they're going to forage and be bouncing back and forth between those 2 forages, meaning that the center of this plot is going to have a lot of activity. So as you look at this plot from a drone, you can see, okay, it is a little bit longer and narrow. We've got 2 different great stand locations. And with these two different stand locations on this field and our access from the southeast, we can hunt this on a southwest, a west, and a northwest. So oftentimes you get, a good food plot, you might have a wind or two to be able to hunt on, but basically anything westerly and probably even straight north as we go to the south end, we can hunt. And so I wanted to set this thing up to where, right, it can offer forage and attraction early in the season, middle of the season, and late, since it provides me with the wind so much access into this field. So what we're going to do on the more northern end, the clover portion of this field, we've got a beautiful black oak tree already picked out, a cedar right in front of that tree that's going to hide us getting in and out of. We might have to clip just the top of it for shooting, and then trim out some of the little elms and persimmons to be able to shoot into the larger portion of this plot. But that tree is going to be a great option for us. So what we're going to be doing to make this food plot architecture-wise work for us a little bit more, we've got 3 walnut trees in this food plot. The walnut tree in the center, what we're going to do here is fell that tree. And we're going to fell it directly away from the tree stand. The tree stand is back behind me right here. That walnut tree is going to get felled directly west. What it's going to do is, as it falls over, it's going to block deer from moving from farther away from the tree stand back behind me and against that timber line. It's going to force them to push out into the plot more, coming into range. So taking away a 50-yard shot and making a 35-yard shot as that tree falls. And it's got a big canopy, so it's going to be hard for deer to move in and throughout it. And it's going to force deer to slide this way, providing more shot opportunities, close shot opportunities from that red oak that's already been picked out. Again, we can hunt that with the southwest, a west, and a northwest. And as we move further down, there are future plans, probably won't get to it this year, but to put a small wildlife water hole on the south end of that food plot, and then take a skid steer trail and mulch it out from the corner of the food plot to that bedding thicket, monitor with cameras that entry exit route that could be really preferred, easy in and out. Again, that bedding thicket is 80 to 100 yards away. But I fully anticipate, with clover being here, bedding thicket having some north exposure and south exposure, we're going to have deer early season when this gets shaded be in this field early because the bedding is close. And then during the rut, as we have westerly winds, bucks are going to be scent checking that bedding thicket. But since it's so tight and close to this field edge, they likely are going to come out from the north and move along the eastern side on a west wind of that bedding thicket, but visually inspect this food plot, but be scent checking the bedding area as well. If that bedding thicket was 200 yards deep into the woods, they'd be against, they wouldn't be in this field scent checking it, they'd be tighter to the bedding. So that proximity of the bedding to this field is probably gonna allow bucks cruising and scent checking to not only just hit this food plot visually, but at the same time be scent checking that. So again, offer more shot opportunities, not just early and not just in the middle of the season, but also we've got a fall blend that's probably going to have a little bit more attraction in that rut to post-rut recovery time frame. That hopefully will be, if we haven't killed one here already, that will be a great location to the different forages, a little different food plot architecture, proximity of bedding, trimming of limbs to be able to get in here and have defined mock scrapes that we're monitoring with cameras off this walnut and one off the corner. This is the way we choose to not only monitor what's happening in the food plots, increase flow and deer traffic throughout, presenting more shot opportunities with the food plot layout and architecture, and then what you do manipulation to some food, to some trees, as well as edge feathering. All this, guys, works together from bedding to food plot to forages. That's our plan for this food plot. Threw a lot at you, but we like to get into the nitty-gritty with you guys. So let us know in the comments below what techniques you might be able to apply on your property and get it done before season. That's going to have good direct results to helping you increase your odds of harvesting quality deer on your property this year.